Buddhaṃ 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 Vande Dhammaṃ 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 Vande Sanghaṃ 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 Vande Buddhaṃ Dhammaṃ Sanghaṃ Vande. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha, homage to the Sangha, the noble disciples of the Buddha, homage to the triple gem. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Venerable sirs, friends in the Dhamma, good morning for everyone. We are very honored to be here with you. At this moment, you are practicing Dhamma as a spiritual group. You are cultivating, you are developing, you are purifying your mind. In Buddha's teachings, we can see very clearly the main message of the Buddha is that happiness. Santutti paramang. Happiness or contentment is the greatest treasure. From our birth to death, from morning to evening, we do everything in the name of happiness. Here also, we are seeking happiness. For the happiness in the world, people do a lot of things. They study, they do jobs, they collect money, they feed their children, they do a lot of things in the name of happiness or satisfaction. Unfortunately, they are going away from happiness day by day. What is the reason? They mostly think that happiness comes from the outside world. That is why always they collect some material things and persons in the outside external world. Unfortunately, they can't control the outside world. Finally, they will die without satisfaction. In this situation, Dhamma explains the real path of happiness. Happiness completely depends on purification of our minds. Here we should understand the negative thoughts, unwholesome mental states that disturb our peace of mind. There are three unwholesome mental states that disturb our peace of mind. They are lobha, craving, dosa, anger, and moha, ignorance. Craving, anger, and delusion, these are the main unwholesome mental states that disturb our peace of mind. The Buddhist path is that reducing these negative thoughts from our mind completely. For that, Dhamma has explained some levels. In the primary level, we have to practice some qualities. On the other side, in the deeper level, we have to practice some highest qualities. In the primary level, we practice 4 sublime states. Brahma Vihara, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, 𝒮𝓾. Metta, loving kindness, Karuna or compassion, Mudita, appreciative joy, and 𝒮𝓾, equanimity. These are the sublime states, Brahma Vihara. Especially here we practice Metta Bhavana, loving kindness meditation. Why do we need to practice Metta Bhavana, loving kindness meditation? The reason is that we mostly suffer because of anger. Anger is one of the main causes that disturbs our peace of mind. If we can reduce anger, we can overcome more than 50% stress suffering from our life. That is why Dhamma explains He who wishes to attain the peace of mind should practice metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation, contemplating on thus, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Again and again, we contemplate on this word. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. When you come to the Dhamma hall or meditation hall, we practice metta bhavana closing our eyes. But we practice metta bhavana not only when we are in the meditation hall, but when we leave meditation hall, when we meet a person, when we see a person, when we talk with someone, when we do some physical activities, we do everything based on metta bhavana. In the bhavana hall, we practice metta 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃, loving kindness meditation in our mind. And also, when we go to the society, we practice metta 𝒮𝓾 ℮𝐵𝐻𝑒, metta 𝒮𝓾 𝐾𝐻𝑒. Metta 𝒮𝓾 ℮𝐵𝐻𝑒 means when we speak something, we speak every word based on metta bhavana, having our mind with metta bhavana. Not only that, when we do something physically, we do all activities based on metta bhavana. We have to practice loving kindness meditation in these three ways. Our thinking pattern based on metta, our speech based on metta, our activities based on metta. These three areas are very important. We mostly think that we should practice metta bhavana in the meditation hall. Actually not. Here we practice metta bhavana in our mind. Practicing Dhamma is like the sharpen our weapons. In the meditation hall, we sharpen our weapons. We sharpen our mind. We sharpen our weapons. Where is the war? Where we fight? When we go to the society, there we use our weapons. What are the weapons? The sharpened mind, cultivated mind, purified mind. When we go to the society, when we go to your workplace, there is the place where you can use your weapons. What is your weapon? Your sharpened mind with the Dhamma. Your purified mind with the Dhamma. That is the place where you use your weapons. If you don't use your weapons in the society, actually your practice that you sharpened your weapons or your knives is not successful. We sharpen our mind in this bhavana hall in order to face the society who have a lot of problems, struggles, sufferings. And also we have to go to the society who have a lot of defilements, problems in their minds. We should live like a lotus flower. Lotus flower origins in the mud, but it comes over the mud, over the water, and it blooms with good smell and beauty. We are also like that. We live in the ordinary society who have a lot of defilements in their minds, but we should live as a lotus flower. That is the Buddhist concept of our mind, our practice. We should keep our mind all the way like a lotus flower with good smell and beauty. Especially here in this level, we practice metta bhavana again and again. Then we are friendly with everyone in this world, no matter other people are happy with us or not, no matter whether they are angry with us or not. Our strength is that we always keep our mind with metta. It means we have a very strong, pure mind. As a result of practicing metta bhavana, Dhamma has explained the highest attitude of practicing metta bhavana. Mata yathan yam puttam ayusa 𝐂𝐻𝐿𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒾 ℒ𝒶𝓃. If a mother has only child, she protects that child like her own life. Even though she has a lot of risks, she protects her own child like his own life. That is the attitude of practicing metta bhavana in the highest level. When we meet someone, when we see someone, when we hear to someone, when we remember someone, when we listen to a sound someone, immediately we should think that person is like my only son or daughter. Then our mind is very strong with metta. It means no one can disturb our peace of mind. Dhamma explains, let's live happily among the people who are angry. A lot of people in this world, they get angry very soon. Suddenly they get angry. Among them, we should live without anger. That is the place where we show our success. Even though we are very educated, if we get angry very soon, actually our life is not successful. Therefore, again and again, we have to metta bhavana. In the mundane level, the highest meritorious act, what the Buddha taught is loving kindness. Why Buddhism has emphasized the importance of practicing metta bhavana? When we practice metta bhavana, whether we know or not, we practice 5 precepts. You don't need to learn or read or practice one by one 5 precepts. If you have this attitude of practicing metta bhavana in the highest level, automatically you practice 5 precepts. What are the 5 precepts? Abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from foul speech, abstaining from intoxicating drinks and drugs that causes heedlessness. We come to this level, the virtuous life, sila or moral life. Not only that, we practice generosity too. If you have this level of metta, you are not greedy. You always practice generosity. Your mind, your heart is so generous as much as you have practiced metta bhavana. Again and again we think, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. The duration of practicing metta bhavana shows your beauty of life, the beauty of your mind, how much you are happy. Our happiness in the mundane level depends on the duration of practicing metta bhavana. Not only we practice metta bhavana, we practice karuna bhavana, the meditation of compassion. There are some people in this world, they are suffering. They have a lot of problems. Physical problems, social problems, mental problems. People who are in this society are suffering with these problems. We have a warm heart. We have a compassionate heart when we see the world. We practice again and again. May all beings be free from fear and suffering. Even though physically we can't help, but mentally we are ready to help them. We bless them to overcome their sufferings. May all beings be free from suffering. 𝒮𝓾𝓾 He who is suffering be free from suffering. 𝐵𝑦𝑝𝑎𝑡𝑡𝑎𝑐 He who has fear be free from fear. Again and again we bless the people. We spread our compassion to the world. That is the Karuna Bhavana, the meditation of compassion. And also, actually, dear friends, practicing Karuna Bhavana or the meditation of compassion is not difficult. When someone is suffering, immediately our heart becomes warm. We have energy, we are ready to help others. That is the nature of the human mind. But there is another thing. What is that? Jealousy. Jealousy is one of the defilements that disturbs our peace of mind. When people are successful, when we are happy, sometimes we are jealous. The opposite of jealousy is that mudita or appreciative joy or sympathetic joy. There we practice a meditation which is mudita bhavana, the meditation of sympathetic joy or appreciative joy. Practicing mudita bhavana is more difficult. But the compassion meditation is not difficult. We can easily practice Karuna Bhavana, the meditation of compassion, but practicing Mudita Bhavana is a challenge in our life. When other people are successful, when other people are happy, when other people receive a lot of facilities, we are happy. We think their happiness, their success as my happiness, as my children's happiness, as my family happiness. That is the nature of the Mudita Bhavana. That is also a meditation technique. There are 40 meditation techniques in Buddhism. Among them, Mudita Bhavana is one of them. We spread Mudita Bhavana thinking that may all beings be successful, be happy everywhere, every moment. May all beings be happy, successful everywhere, every moment. Again and again we think it. When a person is successful and happy, we think that happiness and success as my children's happiness and success. This is the place where we show our sympathetic joy or appreciative joy, mudita. This is also a meditation technique. We again and again contemplate on this. May all beings be happy and successful everywhere, every moment. May they go past me. While I am succeeding, may other people go forward, passing me. It's okay. We are also good. It doesn't matter. When they are successful, we are also successful. When other people are not successful, it influences our life. If a person can go front on the road while you are driving, if someone has a problem in front of you, what happens to you? You can't go forward. That is why we should succeed. May other people also be successful. When they go successfully front, we also can go forward successfully, happily. In this world, if there are a problem in any place in this planet, that problem influences our life. When a country keep a bomb to the country, then what happens to us? That thing adds to the fuel price, gasoline. Then all the goods, the price of all the goods increase. Then we have to pay more money. No matter where it happens. That is why we should wish the world peace. That is why we practice Dhamma. In this situation, we wish others' success as my success, as my family success, practicing mudita bhavana or the meditation of the sympathetic joy. That is also a meditation technique. And through these three qualities, we come to the very peaceful mental state, which is 𝒮𝓃 or equanimity. Firstly, we practice metta bhavana. We spread metta to the world. Then we practice karuna bhavana or the compassion to the world. And also, thirdly, we practice mudita bhavana, sympathetic joy to the world. Finally, we come to the highest state of our mind, which is 𝒮𝓃. We come to equanimity. Even though we wish someone in this world, actually sometimes we can change the world because of their own karma and also because of their own activities. In that situation, we come to equanimity, we make a balanced mind. These four things, metta, karuna, mudita, 𝒮𝓃. These are the four sublime states that the divine beings or the Brahma beings who are in the Brahma realm are dwelling with. If a person can practice these four qualities in this life, it means his mind is like a mind of a god or a Brahma. The Dhamma explains the path how we make a mind like a Brahma mind living in this human world. Physically we are in the human realm on this earth, but mentally we are in. We are in the Brahma world, Brahma realm. How nice. Physically we are doing activities in this human life on the earth, but mentally we are like Brahma beings. This is the way how we can make a Brahma world in this immediate human life. Not only that, as the result of practicing these positive thoughts, we can succeed our day-to-day life. If you study, your education will be successful. If you do a job, your job will be successful. If you help your children, you make them successful. We can see a lot of results of this spiritual path. That happiness is in this present life, not in the future or not in the end of our life. We mostly wish our success or happiness in the next life or the end of our life. But no, dear friends, as much as you come to practice of the four sublime states, you start your happy life. That happiness is in this present moment. When we practice metta, karuna, mudita, 𝒮𝓃, our happiness is in this present moment. We don't need to postpone our happiness. Then we don't wish a better tomorrow. That tomorrow never comes until we die. We always wish a better tomorrow. Actually, that tomorrow never comes until we die. But when we come to practice of sublime states, our happiness is in this present moment. It doesn't mean that we don't think our past or future. Actually, we can remember anything which happened in the past. Memory is not the fault. Fault is our impure mind. Living in the present moment doesn't mean that we don't think our future, we don't plan our future. We plan our future. We can remember our past. But we do everything without stress. Since still we have started our spiritual life, happy life. Then we understand that contentment is the greatest treasure. Happiness is the greatest treasure. That happiness is not in the future. That happiness is in this present moment. These are the primary qualities of our spiritual life, what the Blessed One explained. With this understanding, we gradually go forward. Buddhism is not only practicing for sublime states. Since before Buddha appeared in this world, there were some ascetic people who had practiced these four sublime states until to the jhana level. You have heard that about Alara Kalama, Uddhata Ramaputta, Asita Kaladevala. There were some Brahmanas who had practiced jhana. They take their lunch in this world. After lunch, they will get the rest in the Brahma realm, going there with their psychic energy, divine energy. In this situation, Buddha appeared in this world. When Buddha attained enlightenment, Buddha realized the nature of the world. Buddha discovered the wisdom. After Buddha attained enlightenment, in his first sermon, Buddha says, Pubbe anunusutesu dhammesu. I realized something that I had never heard. Before the Bodhisattva did his renunciation, before he gave up his palace and friends, relatives, he had understood aging, sickness, death. After he attained enlightenment, the Buddha says in his first sermon, 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃. Buddha says, I realized something when I attained Buddhahood that I had never heard. Then there is a very special thing what the Blessed One realized when he attained Buddhahood. What is that? That is the nature of the world. That is the ultimate truth. That is the nature of impermanence. That is the nature of the dependent origination, Patisampada. That is the Four Noble Truths. That is the nature of the five aggregates. Here the Buddha understood, he discovered, and also he proclaimed it to the world in the first sermon, which is the 𝒮𝓾, the discourse of the Dhammacakka. Buddha says this reality, the wisdom. There Buddha says, Cakkun udapadi, eye arose, ඥානං udapadi, the understanding arose, paññā udapadi, wisdom arose, vidya udapadi, science arose, āloka udapadi, light arose. What is the light? What is the science? What is the understanding? What is the wisdom? That is the highest doctrine what the Blessed One realized and explained to the world. The nature of our life. what happens to our life at this moment. Our entire life is that internal 6 senses and external 6 objects. What they are: eye, ear, nose, mouth, body, mind. These are the internal senses. What are the external objects? Form, sound, smell, sound. What is the nature of these things? They are impermanent. What is the nature of impermanence? What is the nature of impermanence? What do you mean impermanence in Buddhism? We mostly think that the changing. Actually, changing is not the complete meaning of impermanence in Buddhism. The changing can be understood by anyone, even scientists dividing atoms. They have tested, they have realized the nature of the atoms. Electron, proton, neutron, they are the energies. They are changing every moment. That can be understood by anyone. It is not difficult to understand. But what the Buddha realized, it has a very deep meaning. What is that? This present experience arises and ceases at the present moment. This present experience didn't come to the present from the past. This present experience will not go to future from the present. That is the nature of impermanence in Buddhism. It says in Pali text, ahutva sambhutang hutva na bhavisati. Not being occurred comes to occurrence. Being occurred will not go to occurrence in the future. For an example, when I do this sound didn't come to the present from the past. This sound will not go to future from the present. It arises and ceases at the moment. Not only that, this sound, this result arises at the moment with the conditions. Without condition, this sound doesn't arise at the moment. But the very important thing, even though this sound arises because of causes, this sound doesn't belong to any cause, any reason. Because of my fingers, because of my effort, because of my ears, ear consciousness, because of these several causes, this sound arises at the moment. But the very important thing, this result, this sound doesn't belong to any reason. This sound doesn't belong to my fingers. This sound doesn't belong to my ears. This sound doesn't belong to even my ear consciousness. Because of these reasons or causes, this sound arises, but it doesn't belong to any cause. And also a very important thing, when we understand this reality, we are away from extremes. What are the extremes? According to 𝒮𝓾 Sutta, the discourse of 𝒮𝓾, that explains the world mostly think that there is a world or there is not world. These both views are not correct. The mostly people in this world, they think there is a world or there is not world. Actually, Buddhism rejects these both views. Why is that? When we see the arising of our mind and body, or the five aggregates, every moment the five aggregates, Rupa, form, Vedana, sensations, Sanya, perception, Sankhara, mental formations, and Vijnana. These five things, every moment these five things arise. When we see the arising of these five aggregates, we don't go to the extreme of nihilism or 𝒮𝓃ℾ. Not only that, these five things arise at the moment and also they cease at the moment. When we see the cessation of these five aggregates, we don't go to the extreme of eternalism or Sastradavada. These both extremes, which are eternalism and nihilism, should be overcome by one vision, one theory, one teaching. What is that? That is the main teaching in Buddhism, the 𝒮𝓃ℾ, the dependent origination, which is the heart of Buddhism. When this is, when this is not, this is not. Iti imasmin satidang hoti, imasmin asatidang hoti. When this is, when this is not, this is not. The entire world gets decisions based on eternalism or nihilism. The Dhamma rejects both of extremes with one theory, which is the 𝒮𝓃ℾ or the dependent origination. This is the vision of what the Buddha taught. As soon as we listen to this vision, not only we understand this vision, but if we trust, if we are confident in this vision, immediately we come to practice, which is mission. What is the mission? Mission is that mindfulness. Or three disciplines, virtue, concentration, and wisdom. Or with details, our spiritual path. What is that? The Noble Eightfold Path, the fearless path, the spiritual path, the path of happiness. The 8 steps of happiness we meet. What is that? The Noble Eightfold Path. But first of all, we should know the vision. Vision is like the address. Whenever you are going to a new place, first of all, you should need to get the address. Without address, your effort is useless. This is address. What is the address in Buddhism? The 𝒮𝓃ℾ, arising and ceasing of our body and mind, or the five aggregates, the dependent origination. And as soon as we have this knowledge, we trust in that if we understood this reality, we can overcome suffering. If not, we can't overcome suffering. Dhamma explains there are 3 reasons, there are 3 causes that why we need to find a spiritual teacher, and also why we need to practice the Dhamma. Because of 3 causes, 3 facts, 3 reasons, we need to find a spiritual teacher and his sublime message. What are the causes? Aging or decay going to old age, death and rebirth. Aging, death and rebirth. Even though sometimes some people don't believe rebirth, but everyone believes that aging and death. If someone don't believe rebirth, it is okay, don't worry. But everyone who are here, who we are, we believe that day by day we are going to old age, sickness and finally death. These are the sufferings. If we want to overcome these challenges in our life, we have to come to this message. We trust in that when we understand and realize this truth, we can overcome these challenges, aging, sickness, death, and final rebirth. If we trust in this reality, immediately our energy, our motivation arises and it increases. The first one is saddha or confidence in this message, then energy, virya, next sati, mindfulness, and samadhi, tranquility or concentration, finally panya, wisdom. We cultivate these 5 spiritual faculties based on the Noble Eightfold Path. What are the Noble Eightfold Path? Samma Ditti, right understanding. Samma Sankappa, right intention. Samma Vacha, right speech. Samma Kammanta, right action. Samma Ajiva, right livelihood. Samma Vayama, right effort. Samma Sati, right mindfulness. And Samma Samadhi, right concentration. No matter whatever we do in our entire life, from this understanding until we die, from morning to night, we do all the activities based on these 8 steps, since these are the 8 steps of happiness. These are the 8 steps of getting rid of suffering. The Noble Eightfold Path is the easiest way to live in this world. Practicing the Noble Eightfold Path is the greatest way how to live in this world happily and peacefully. We conduct all the activities in our life based on the Noble Eightfold Path as soon as we have this understanding. Then always we are aware of our body and mind. We start our mindfulness based on Sati Nimitta, the sign of mindfulness. We keep our attention around the nose properly. And gradually we are aware of our body. Then we are aware of our sensations. Next we are aware of our consciousness or mind. Then we are aware of our mind objects, mental formations. And also every moment we are aware of our mind. Here we have very special understanding that the real nature of our life, we can contact something at the present moment through our senses, but the very important thing, we create these senses at this present moment. These senses are based on our mental situation. according to our mind, we create these senses at the moment. According to senses, we experience the world. We mostly think that we experience the world according to the external world. No, dear friends. We experience the world according to our perception, according to our senses. Now these are the walls for you at this moment. But if we can cultivate our mind and if we can get divine energy at this moment, what happens to us? We can see the outside through the walls. Now you can go through the wall, but if you can develop your divine energy, you can go through the wall. This is not the permanent world. This is the world that we create based on our senses. Our senses are based on our mental situation that arises at the moment. Not only that, there is a very special deep meaning in our life, which is that we can contact the world in the present moment. We can contact the material world of persons at this moment. The very important thing, when we understand it, the very first experience, the formal world has completely ceased. We contact the world through 5 aggregates. When we understand it, there are 4 aggregates. Whenever we think that there are 5 aggregates which forms of material world, it means we are consist with ignorance. It means our mind depends on the material world. If our mind is depending on the material world, we are not away from aging, sickness and death. As soon as we release our mind from the material world, what happens to us? We have overcome the suffering of aging, sickness, death at the present moment. That result we receive in this present moment. As soon as we come to this understanding based on mindfulness and wisdom, we can completely overcome suffering. Since our mind doesn't depend on anything in the external world or in the even inside. As a result of this understanding, finally we come to equanimity, 𝒮𝓾. Not only that, very special thing, with this understanding, the enlightened person, he can associate the world as they think. When we come to this understanding, if we want to live in this world as a good way, we can think like that. When we meet a person or thing, if we want to understand this is a good thing, we can dwell like this. If we want to perceive it as negative, we can do it. Not only that, avoiding the repulsive and the unrepulsive, if we want to live equanimity, we can do it. Without changing anything in the external world, just changing our perception, we can associate the world. The entire world, from the birth to death, from the morning to evening, what do? They do change the world, clean the world, correct the world. They spend their entire life in order to correct the world. But the deep meaning of the Dhamma is that not changing or correcting anything in the external world, just changing and cultivating our perception, positive perception, wholesome perceptions, we can associate the world as we like. There are a lot of discourses in Buddhist teachings that is explained. Especially Indriya Bhavana Sutta, which comes in Majjhima Nikaya. If you read it, you can understand there how we experience the world. But it has a gradual path. Day by day, step by step, we go to the deeper level. Firstly, we practice generosity. Then we listen to Dhamma. We associate good friends. We practice virtue or sila, moral conduct. We practice concentration and for sublime states. Finally, we practice mindfulness based on the Noble Eightfold Path. As a result of this path, we can satisfy our life in this present moment. We can enjoy our life in this present moment. That happiness is in this present moment, not in the future. Even though we don't come to the stages of our spirituality, such as stream entry, once returning, non-returning, enlightened, even though we don't come to these levels of spirituality, such as Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arhanta, when we come to this practice correctly, actually we are not hurried to become Sotapanna or Sakadagami. Why is that? Now we enjoy our life, the present moment. If your navigator is very correct, if your address is correct, if you go on the correct way, do you need to be hurried? You are slowly going to the destination. The thing that you have to do is that enjoy the environment. Even though you don't think about the destination, every moment you are reaching the destination. While you are on the way, you can look at around the road, you can help others, you can see the forest, you can see the waterfalls, rivers. We have started our spiritual life, our happy life. But again and again, we have to cultivate 5 qualities from the beginning to end in order to develop our spirituality. They are Sutanuggahita ℒ𝒶𝓃. Again and again we have to listen in this message. Silanuggahita ℒ𝒶𝓃. We should practice virtue, moral conduct. Sakaccanuggahita ℒ𝒶𝓃. Again and again we have to discuss about this message. Samatanuggahita ℒ𝒶𝓃. We should cultivate our concentration or tranquility, samatha. And Vipassananuggahita ℒ𝒶𝓃. We have to practice Vipassana Bhavana again and again. By practicing these 5 qualities, day by day we go forward. We spend every moment happily. Even though a lot of teachings in Buddhism, even though we have to practice for a long time, finally we have to practice only 1 second, 1 moment. What is that? Be aware of your breathing in and out. You have to practice only 1 breath in and out at once, based on mindfulness and insight meditation, samatha and vipassana. This moment, reflecting on this reality, breathing in, breathing out. That's it for now. Next time, breathing in, breathe in, out. That's it. Next, breathe in, breathe in, out. At once you have to practice one breath in and out. Don't be worried to practice meditation 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 10 minutes. Don't worry. Just practice one breath in and out. Our entire life is that one breath in and out. Listening to Dhamma also a place where we practice Dhamma. This sermon, listening to Dhamma is not away from practice. When we start our practice, as soon as we started to listening to Dhamma, that is the place where we start to practice Dhamma. Not end of the sermon. We mostly think that firstly I need to listen to Dhamma, then I close my eyes, practice. No, dear friend. Listening to Dhamma is a place where we practice Dhamma. In Buddha's time, many disciples attain enlightenment, not just closing their eyes, but opening their eyes while the Buddha was preaching Dhamma. Many disciples in the Buddha's time, they attain enlightenment while they are opening their eyes, listening to Dhamma. Listening to Dhamma is not away from practice. If we are listening to correct message, that listening is not away from practice. That listening is not away from meditation. The first 5 months, 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃, how did they attain enlightenment? While they were listening to Buddha. They attained enlightenment while they were listening to 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. Venerable Sariputta, he attained Sotapanna while he was listening to Venerable Assaji. Venerable Sariputta attained enlightenment while the Buddha was preaching Dhamma. A lot of disciples in this dispensation attained enlightenment while they were listening to Dhamma, while they were opening eyes. How nice. Okay, dear friends, this is the thing that I needed to explain. If you have any question, you can ask.
Mogę zadać po polsku pytanie? Właśnie chciałam właśnie zadać, a ja po polsku pytanie, bo ostatnio czytałam taką książkę, że są takie sukry z Manikaj 117 i tam jest właśnie o właściwym poglądzie i tam jest dużo, tam początek jest właśnie od tego, że niewłaściwym jakby poglądem jest to, że nie ma dawania, ofiarowania, poświęcania się. No i dzisiaj mamy dane, czy, a jakby mogła coś wyjaśnić na temat tego, czym jest dawanie w buddyzmie. Co oznacza to dawanie, co oznacza ta dama, jak dane, jak ona powinna prawidłowo przebiegać.
No, ja myślę, że to bardzo lepiej.
Tak.
Możesz tłumaczyć po angielsku dla Barty to pytanie. Manikaya 170. Może ktoś dobrze angielski zna i tłumaczy. Moje angielskie jest za proste. Kto rozumiecie angielski?
Bhante, can you explain about the Dhamma, how to do it properly and what it means in the Buddhism?
Generosity, dana? Yes. That's a good question. Actually, dana, offering something to others or sharing something to others, that is very important. It is useful in several ways. The main thing is, I think all of you are here because of your generosity. If you are so greedy, actually you are not here. We meet the Dhamma because of generosity. Already your heart is so generous. That is why you are here. You are generous for your time. Your time is very valuable. You had to be at home. You have spent money to your transportation. You have come here, spending money. Since you are generous. As soon as we are generous, we meet the 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃, good association. You have received good associations, good friends here because of your generosity. That is the result of generosity. Not only that, Dhamma explains the 3 categories of generosity. Āmisadāna, Abhayadāna, Dhammadāna. Āmisadāna means offering material things such as food, water, clothes, shelter, medicine. These are the material givings. Āmisadāna. The next one, Abhayadāna. If a person or a being is very close to die, if he can save their life, if he can protect their life, that is Abhayadāna, giving fearlessness. And also Dhammadāna. Dhammadāna means sharing Dhamma with others, Dhamma message. Offering Dhamma books or preaching Dhamma or discussing with the Dhamma, that is the Dhammadāna, the gift of Dana, the gift of Dhamma. Among these 3 steps of generosity, Dhammadāna is highly appreciated in Buddhism. That is why it is said in Buddhism, Sabbadānaṁ Dhammadānaṁ jināti. The gift of Dhamma excels all other gifts. The other thing is that practicing generosity is one of the ways how we can win friends. One day a person came to Buddha and asked, Bhante, how do we win friends? How we make friends? The Buddha says, he who has a generous heart makes lot of friends. Practicing generosity is the way how we can make friends. That is also a benefit of practicing generosity. You know, everyone likes to be famous in this society. They like to make friends. They are very first step of that practicing generosity. Not only that, there is very special discourse which is 𝐴 Sutta. The discourse of 𝐴 explains the benefits of generosity. There explains that no matter whatever we offer, even you offer very small thing, you should offer it with your good heart, correctly, honestly, righteously, very clearly. As the result of practicing generosity, we receive the highest benefit in this world. What is that? Good association. Not only normal friends we can make, but we make the highest valuable friends in this world. Noble association. As a result of practicing generosity, you meet the best friends in this world. You can meet them, not physically, but all the spiritual friends come to your smartphone. No matter they live or not, no matter they are near or far, no matter they are visible or invisible, all the good association, the highest message come to your phone. That is the result of practicing generosity. Not only that, very special thing, the 𝐴 Sutta explains that when you listening to correct message, the deep message of getting rid of suffering, you can understand it. That is a very important thing. As a result of practicing generosity in the correct way, when you listening to highest message in this world, you can directly focus on it. You can understand it. No matter you are well educated or not, no matter you have your literacy or not, sometimes even you can write any letter. It doesn't matter. But when you listening to Dhamma, you can directly focus on it and you can understand it. That is the highest result of practicing generosity. Therefore, practice it as much as you can. Firstly, we should practice it at home. If your parents are with you, please help them. Please take care of them very well. Please respect them. Please prepare food and other things for them. Not only that, when you prepare some foods and clothes for your children at home, please do it as a generosity. These are not my parents, children, wives or husband, but these are the beings in this world. I go to the shopping mall, I go to the supermarket to buy for the dana, for generosity. You can make your food at home as a dana, as a generosity. Just changing your perception, doing the same thing, you can practice generosity in your day-to-day life. The more you practice generosity, the more you make good friends, you meet good friends. The more you make good friendship, the more you receive the sublime message. The more you receive the sublime message, the more you understand it. Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you for this teaching.
Okay.
I strongly believe in Brahma Viharas.
Yes.
But can we make like a practical example? So, let's say you've been ill for a long time, like for a year, and then you're meeting your friends for a coffee. For example, 2 friends, and both of them had many successes during this year when you were ill, right? So the discussion starts. You're having your coffee, and one friend, you ask the first friend, "How are you?" And the friend talks, I had a promotion in the company. And the other friends, you ask, "How are you?" And the friend says, "I got married this year." And you've been ill this year. And they ask, "How are you?" And this is like the moment that we fear, because this year, in this example, this year was very challenging for us. Yes. We're in some sadness.
Yes.
And we don't have anything good to share to them. So how would you, put the mudita into words in a situation like that? How can I respond, to this situation where I had, difficult year and my friends had successes during this year?
Yes, that's a good question. All of things we have already discussed. First of all, we should understand why do we need to practice mudita bhavana. Mudita bhavana is opposite of jealousy. When we are jealous, our mind is not pure, not happy. We practice mudita in order to overcome jealousy. We practice mudita bhavana in order to attain happiness. And also, when we see the society, there are many people we can see, they are successful, they are healthy, they are happy. When we see them, we should think that their happiness as my happiness, their success as my children's happiness. Actually, before mudita bhavana, we should practice metta bhavana. Without metta bhavana, we can come to mudita. Firstly, we practice metta bhavana again and again. Then we see the world as my children, as my siblings, as my family members. When someone who is at home is successful, we are happy. No jealousy. That is why Buddhism has a very gradual path, like the ocean. You know the ocean, the sea? The ocean deepens gradually from the beach to the deeper level. Dhamma also has the order. Firstly, we practice generosity, then we practice 5 precepts, then we gradually come to Brahma Vihara. Firstly, there we practice Metta Bhavana. Again and again we contemplate on thus, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Then we are friendly with everyone. We see everyone like my son or daughter. Then we have a warm heart. When other people are suffering, we share this suffering with us. We have a warm heart. We spread our compassion. May you be overcome your suffering. May you be free from fear, suffering, illness. We spread our compassion to others. Not only that, among them there are some people who are very successful, well educated, very rich. Then we think their success as my success. There are some people who are so beautiful than we are. We are happy. When you are happy, I think when you are so beautiful, I am happy. When you educate very well, I am happy. I think your success as my success. Actually, Mudita Bhavana is the very good place where we can check our spiritual success. You know, a lot of people in the world, they practice karuna. As soon as a person has a problem, they are ready to help them. But mudita is not like that. It is very difficult to practice. You know, if a person has become a very big problem, because of this problem, he receives a very big house. Then firstly we are so compassionate. After he receives the big house, what happens to us? We think that that house is so bigger to that person. If it is good, if he receives a very small house, why he has a very big house? Firstly, he had a very small house. Then we are not happy there. But if he can be happy when he receives a very bigger house than he had, that is the place where we can check whether we have practiced Mudita Bhavana. That is why we need to practice it. Okay, let's try to practice it. That is very important. For that, firstly, we have to practice Metta Bhavana again and again. That is very important. Okay. Any other question? Yes, please.
In Dharma, it teaches that we should practice letting go. Yeah, that we should let go of things. Yeah.
Yes.
But at what point should we focus on developing relationships, like with our children, with our partner? Because if we're talking about letting go, then technically, to be spiritually happy, we should let go of everything. Yeah. So we are, spiritually happy. But obviously, we as humans, we are, herd creatures. Yeah. So we need contact with others. Yeah. So we can physically let go of all relationships. So, what relationships should we maintain, and what others should we be letting go?
Yes, very good question. Letting go, we start with generosity. Okay? The very first step of letting go is that practicing generosity. At least sharing some food with someone. That's the first thing. And also the next step is that practicing sila or 5 precepts. Even though we have big attachment or if we have desire, we never steal anything. Because we practice, I abstain from stealing. Even though we have attachment, even though we have desire or lust, we never break the third precept of 5 precepts. We abstain from sexual misconduct. That is the second place where we practice letting go. The third one, by practicing samadhi. samadhi, we reduce sensual pleasure in the deeper level. As the result of practicing jhana, we reduce hindrances, panchaniva. There also we practice letting go. But the very important thing, when we go to the deeper level in Dhamma, not only we practice generosity, sila or concentration meditation, but we should have vision. What happens to the world? We should have correct vision, then immediately we can let go. How do we see it? If we know the reality of our life, what is that? When we understand something, the formal world, the physical world has completely ceased. I understand something through my mind consciousness. When I understand something through my mind consciousness, the material world has completely ceased. Then we have nothing to attach. That is the real letting go. For an example, when you eat something, when you have a delicious food, what happens to you? You immediately look at the food which is in the plate. You think that the taste comes from the food which is in the plate. Is it true? When you eat something, when you taste something, the taste comes from the food which is in the plate? No, that food is in your mouth. When you enjoy some food, when you taste some food, that food is in your mouth. That food was in the plate. Not that food is not in the plate. If you can understand the food, now I am tasting this in the mouth, do you have attachment to the food in the mouth? No. We never steal the food which is in the mouth. We always steal the food which is in the plate, which is in the fridge, which is in the supermarket. But taste arises at the moment in the mouth. Our all experiences are also like that. When we see someone is beautiful, someone is very smart, actually that smart depends on our present mental situation. That doesn't belong to the outside world. I enjoy with my own mind, my mental formations. When the external world has completely ceased, I recognize everything through my mind consciousness. When I understand something through my mind consciousness, the material world has no in the outside world. If we can come to this understanding, automatically we have practiced letting go. We don't need to practice, I don't attachment to this one, I don't need to think it. If we know that when I am tasting something, that food is in the mouth, I don't need to practice letting go. But we can taste the food. Taste is not the problem. We can taste the food which is in the mouth, but we do it with understanding. We can associate the world. We can help our children, our parents, our husbands and wives. We can help them. But mentally we have this understanding and mindfulness at the moment. Having mindfulness, we contact others. We help others. We share something with others. We respond to others. But we are here. Even though I announce you, I may think that there are a lot of people around me. That is true in the conventional truth. But what is the reality of the deeper level? I didn't talk to anyone. I talked to my own mind. After the external world, the material world has completely ceased, I was talking with my own mind. Then, if I have this understanding, no matter whether you appreciated me or not, it doesn't influence me. No matter you give me a lot of things or not, I may thankful you, I appreciate you, but it doesn't mean happiness or suffering, because I understand that depends on my attitude. That depends on my perception. As soon as we see the world, if we can understand the material world has completely ceased, then automatically we have practiced letting go. Here there is a very special concept in Buddhism. What is that? Here we have to explain the deeper meaning of the Dhamma. What is that? Uppada Nirodha and Anuppada Nirodha. Uppada Nirodha means the cessation which is arisen. The cessation which has already arisen. The Anuppada Nirodha is the cessation which is not arisen. The first one, the cessation which is arisen, means there is something outside world, it can be changed. There is an atom in the world, it can be divided, it consists with electron, proton, neutron, it is changing. Firstly, we have taken something with our ignorance, then we think that it can be changed. That can be understood by anyone in this world. We don't need to listen to Dhamma. We don't need to find a Buddha to understand this thing. If these things are changing, we can understand it. We don't need to find a Buddha, or we don't need to come to the temple to understand this thing. That is not the reality in the deep meaning of the Dhamma. That is the cessation of arisen. The Buddha, before he attained enlightenment, as a lay person, when he was going to the path, he understood aging, sickness, death. After he attained enlightenment, he explained that I realized something that I had never heard. What is that? That is the Anuppada Nirodha, the cessation which is not arisen. What is that? If we know that when we recognize something, that my eye, my ear, my nose, these senses, or my ear, form, eye consciousness, eye contact, eye sensation, eye formation, everything has ceased in the primary level experience when I understand something through my mind consciousness. When I understand something, I understand everything through my mind consciousness. Mind, mind objects, and mind consciousness. Then we don't find anything in the external world when we understand something. We see the world 𝐁𝐮𝐝 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶, we see the world as emptiness. We realize the world as empty. ශුඤ්ඤතෝ ලෝකං අවිපස්සෝ. අනිමිත්ත සමාධි, ශුඤ්ඤත සමාධි, අපනිත සමාධි. අනිමිත්ත, ශුඤ්ඤත, අපනිත. This is the nature of the Anupada Nirodha, the cessation which is not arisen. Then we don't have any attachment to the world. But we associate with the world. We help others. We respond to others. We take care of our relatives and friends. We share this Dhamma with others. We do more things after we have this experience. Relationship is not the problem. The problem is that our ignorance, our unmindfulness. If we can practice mindfulness and wisdom, then we have more connections to the world. We do more help to the world than we did earlier. That's a very important thing. When someone becomes arahantship, sometimes they have slept only few hours per day. They have helped the people, the world, for many hours per day. The more they have come to this understanding, the more they help to the world. That is the nature of this experience, understand. Since they do these activities happily, living in the present moment, because they have no suffering. When their mind is so free and satisfied, they have contentment, santupti. Contentment encourages us to do more service to the world. Any other question?
Chciałam właśnie zapytać, czyli ten kontakt, czyli tak jakby to pożywienie, którym się karmimy na świecie, już masz powoli. Czy to właśnie jest, możemy się żywić, ale właśnie jaki stosunek do tego mamy i w tym się jakby pojawia cierpienie, w stosunku do tego, czym się karmimy, tak? To jest pytanie, czy to jest właśnie, czy to jest dobrze?
że możemy korzystać z różnych rzeczy.
Nie, to tak jak powiedziałam. Czyli właśnie, że to całe przywiązanie to może tak powoli.
Okay, the question is about the attachment.
Że ono się tworzy w momencie, może się stworzyć w momencie kontaktu, gdzie zmysły się kontaktują z tym obiektem.
Kasia is thinking that it's creating when we have the contact with the object.
I jakby to rozpoznanie właśnie jest w tym kontakcie, tak? Czyli jakby to przywiązanie może się stworzyć w momencie kontaktu, czy zmysłami, czy jakimś innym.
To jest pytanie.
Tak.
Okay. The question is about this attachment is creating when we have the contact with the object. For example, when we are eating something, we are connected with the food, and is this the moment when the attachment is started?
We all are practicing Dhamma. We haven't come to the last experience, last understanding. Therefore, in the primary level, we also have some attachment because of our ignorance. We haven't reduced ignorance completely at this moment. Therefore, when we see someone, when we eat something, we have attachment. That is true. But because of this understanding, we know that I am in practice. Then that attachment doesn't go far away. Sometimes we may go, but suddenly we come to the discipline. Because we have mindfulness, we have this understanding. That is why we reduce this ignorance in some levels. When you practice generosity, there we reduce the big attachment in some levels. When you practice sila, if you practice 5 precepts, even though you have desire, you never steal something. That is the discipline in your 5 precepts. And also if you practice samadhi as a level of jhanas, we don't have more attachment. Even though we have some connection with the people, we don't have sensual desire, sensual pleasure, since we have overcome hindrances at that level. And also finally, if we are correctly in the mindfulness, even though we know something is here, we suddenly come to the understanding if we are in the Noble Eightfold Path. In various levels we can practice it. In the generosity we can practice this understanding, and when we practice 5 precepts, there also we can practice, and also when we develop our jhanas, there also we have some levels of our progress, and also finally when we practice the arising of 5 aggregates, arising, ceasing, immediately we can overcome the attachment. But for that, continuously we have to be in practice. The more practice, the more results. The more results, the more we are happier. The more we are happier means the more we have letting go. Okay. A very special thing is mindfulness. You also can explain something.
Ten problem jest nie przy kontakcie. Przy kontakcie dopiero jak powstaje lubię, nie lubię, przyjemne, nieprzyjemne. Czyli to jest ten obszar uczuć. I tam musimy pracować na tym. I to przez koncentrację, przez uważność. To jest miejsce, gdzie pracujemy. Bo kontakt sam nie jest problemem. Problem jest, jak przychodzi, jak to bardzo szybko powstaje. Lubię, nie lubię. Przyjemne, nieprzyjemne. Bolesne, awersja wchodzi. Przyjemne, pożądanie rodzi się. Jak mamy uważność, to w tym momencie i dobrą koncentrację, znaczy skupienie na umysłu, to jesteśmy przy tym uważni. A arahatma widzone jest tylko widzenie. A on nie jest ślepy. Ale nie ma już tej patyki samochody. Ona już jest zatrzymana, dalej nie rośnie. Słyszenie jest tylko słyszenie. Kontakt nie jest problemem.
The very important thing, in one side we should have this understanding again and again. Vision is very important. Then mission means mindfulness. Again and again we should keep this understanding in our mind. The Buddha says very clearly, if a person is suffering, that suffering definitely comes to the person who are ignorant. Suffering never comes to the person who is wise and mindful. Whenever suffering comes to us, be sure that now I am not mindful, now I am ignorant. That is very important thing. Whenever we reflect on impermanence based on mindfulness, at that moment our mind doesn't depend on anything. It doesn't mean that we can recognize something, we can understand something, but immediately we come to insight. Coming to the insight means insight meditation. Going to outside means not inside meditation. If you look at your inside, if I can look at my inside, it means I am practicing inside meditation, vipassana bhavana. When we look at the food, when we taste something in the plate, we are living outside world. As soon as we taste something, having some food in the mouth, if you can understand, now my taste has inside with the food which is in the mouth, then I have no attachment to the food which is in the plate. I know very well, now I am tasting the food which is in the mouth. The food which is very tasty is in mouth. The food is in the plate is not tasty. If you think the food which is in the plate is very tasty, please blend it and put it here. With some tool, please put it inside your belly. Is it delicious? No. The food which is in the plate is not delicious. The taste arises at the moment in the mouth with the tongue. If we have this understanding, we release from the material world. That is the real letting go. Now we have the darkness. What is the darkness? We think that there is outside world. As soon as we see we have the light, the torch, we directly focus on inside. Arising and ceasing of our senses, five aggregates, mentality and cooperative or nama rupa. If we see the arising and ceasing of our life, then automatically we have the light, we have the vision, we have the science, we have the wisdom. Then immediately we release from the external world. It doesn't mean that we don't respond to others. Actually, we are more kind to the world. Since we practice all the qualities based on metta bhavana. Even though we come to this highest understanding, after this experience, we are so more compassionate to the world. Why is that? We associate the society people who don't have this understanding. Even though we know this theory, the other people who haven't listened to this message, they don't know this theory. That is why they are suffering. Then we have intention that I should explain this message to the world. This message is not for the Buddhist or for the any other ethnic group. This message to the person who are seeking inner peace, who wants to overcome suffering. He who is ready to overcome suffering, he who has good attention, he who wishes to listen to Dhamma, we should explain this message in order to overcome suffering. The very important thing. Any ethnic group, any religious person can listen to this message and practice this message, and also they can get the results. That is why.
Potrzebujesz pomocy? Stało się coś. Potrzebujesz pomocy.
That is why this message spreads in this entire world without any barriers, any limits. Anyone can listen to this message. Anyone can practice this message without any barriers, any differences.
Damy radę.
Okay, we really appreciate your participation, your good attention. We are so happy to be in Poland in first time. This is my first visit to your country. I am so happy to be here. By the power of listening to this message, may all your spiritual and educational goals meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Dukkham panthaca nindukkham, bhayam panthaca nindbhayam, sokam panthaca nissokam, untu sabbe pipanino. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be free from fear. May all beings live happily. May all beings attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.